Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you guys are doing well so far today. And in this video, I want to take a look at some more bad teams. You guys may remember a couple of weeks ago, I made a video looking at the 0-3 teams at the time and looking at their rosters, looking at their depth charts, trying to figure out, okay, is there anything here that we might want to trade for? Is there anything here that we might take a look at and go, okay, that is an asset that we could give up a draft pick for? That is something that can help us win now. So the teams we went over in that video were the Carolina Panthers, Denver Broncos, Minnesota Vikings, and Chicago Bears. Those were the four teams that, in my opinion, clearly needed to start thinking about a rebuild, and that means trading your veterans that you don't need anymore. Well, now we have three new teams that have probably entered the same conversation because they find themselves currently at 1-4. And if I'm going to say a team should think about rebuilding at 0-3, I definitely think they should do it at 1-4. It's worse. There's fewer games left. So let's take a look at some of the intriguing players that the Seahawks might want to consider acquiring before the trade deadline from the three 1-4 teams that we didn't talk about a couple weeks ago. One of the teams is the Cardinals, and I'm going to go ahead and just kind of step on that one right now. The Cardinals, they're in our division. They're not going to make a trade that really helps us that much because it's in the division. And also, there's really nothing on that team that I want. I looked at their roster. I looked at their depth chart. I tried to figure out an angle. I got nothing. There's nothing on that defensive line that I think is worth trading for. There's nothing in terms of like maybe Dennis Gardeck, right? But even that, like I couldn't really get up for anything. Nothing really made sense to me. So Arizona, no. New England, however, a little different. Maybe we could make a trade with the Patriots. Let's kick the tires on a couple of guys here. I couldn't find a lot, but there are two guys that I think you should at least make a phone call about and see what's up. First guy is DeAndre Wise Jr. He's a defensive lineman. He plays defensive end for them. Little undersized for the 3-4 maybe, but we're talking by like 5 pounds. I don't think it would be that big of a deal. He's been a pretty prolific player on that defensive line for a while now. Last year was actually a career year. He had 7.5 sacks. Excuse me. And almost 60 tackles, so he was really good for them. So far this year, not nearly as prolific. He's out there grinding. He's out there doing things that most 3-4 defensive ends do. But PFF has not been a big fan of what he's done so far this season. Not awful, but just kind of just floating around out there. But this was a guy they thought very highly of last year. So there's still a pretty good player in here somewhere. He's not even 30 yet. So what would he cost in a trade? Probably something like a 4th or 5th round pick if I had to guess. Obviously, you never know how these negotiations are going to go. But this is a player who still has something left, is still a pretty decent player, but he's not going to have that much to offer by the time the Patriots are good again because clearly things are now working over there. Their defense isn't even that good this year. So if they're willing to trade him in the next few weeks, I won't be surprised, and this might be a guy the Seahawks want to kick the tires on. You look at his contract, he is in the third year of a 4-year deal right now, and if the Patriots were to trade him, they would take on $2.2 million dead this year and next year. That dead cap hit might go up a little bit because he's already played 5 games for them. But even if that's the case, they do save a significant amount of money because his cap hit this year is $8.7 million. So if they can send most of that cap hit to Seattle and also save money next year, because next year obviously he's going to be counting $7.2 million against the cap, only $2.2 if he's traded here, then that's something that would be desirable for a team that looks like they need to start over. So I think that DeAndre Wise is somebody that the Patriots should strongly consider moving, and the Seahawks should strongly consider trying to make themselves the recipient of DeAndre Wise if he is indeed available. The only other guy I could find, and this one would be a lot tougher, this guy's actually really good, and he's young. This is a guy that New England might consider to be at least somewhat untouchable. It's Josh Uche of the edge position. And usually I don't talk about edge players when I talk about trade guys, but this guy's good. This guy has a good pedigree. This guy is young. This guy, he's an actual really strong long-term asset. And if New England is sitting there thinking, look, we know he's good, but we're not going to keep him because his contract is up at the end of the year and we want to go ahead and get something for him now, then maybe there you can swoop in and get him for like a fourth round pick, or I'd even go up to a third round pick for this guy. This guy is in his fourth year in the league. He was a former second round pick. Last year he broke out 11 and a half sacks. Really impressive season getting after the quarterback. So only in 15 games, by the way. He actually missed a couple games and still did it. He is rotational. He doesn't start that often. He is somebody who comes in off the bench, but he's very effective in that role. And if we're not happy with what we're seeing from a guy like a Darrell Taylor, maybe you throw them Darrell Taylor back in the trade and then you give up like a fourth round pick on top of it. Maybe it's like you take Darrell Taylor off our hands, we take Uche, and we throw in some draft capital to kind of make it even. But it's worth at least making a phone call. Again, this guy's good. 72.2 PFF grade. The main issue is that he's about to be a free agent. And he's coming off the rookie deal, so he's going to be looking to break the bank here. So if you trade for him, you might be looking at a situation where you need to trade for him and then extend him. And that might be something that the Seahawks are not willing to do because they already committed money to Nwosu, and they're eventually, years down the road, but eventually going to have to commit money to Mafe. But if they want to bolster their edge room with another quality piece, I think this might be a good opportunity. This New England team is kind of looking to rip it down, probably. They're looking at Uche and thinking, yeah, he's good, but is he so good we're going to give him a monster contract like a Bradley Chubb contract when we're trying to rebuild? Maybe not. And I would not be terribly excited about giving a guy like this a Bradley Chubb contract, but I cannot deny that he is a very good player who should be good for the next 5 years or so. So that would be the second guy I look at from New England, and I couldn't really find anything else. It was really just those two. Both worth looking into, I would say. And you never know when a team might just be desperate to offload. Like, for all I know, Dietrich Wise, you might be able to get him for a 6th-round pick. So you should always be making these phone calls, seeing what's up, seeing if maybe a team is just like, I just want to get this guy out of here. I don't want to look at him anymore. I just want to change it. I just want to blow it up a little bit. Let's just get rid of this guy for whatever crappy asset I can. The other team to look at, other than the Patriots now, would be the Giants. And I know everybody's going to talk about Dexter Lawrence, but it basically can't happen. Dexter Lawrence just got extended. If the Giants trade him now, they're really not saving that much money this year or next year. And I don't know why they would do it. He's still a really good player. Like, Dexter Lawrence is one of the best players in the league at his position. He is an excellent nose tackle. I don't know why they would trade him just because. Like, they're still going to end up paying him a ton of money the next 2 years, so the savings aren't there. So, therefore, you're going to have to give up massive capital, first-round pick plus easy, to get Dexter Lawrence. And I just don't know why you would need to do that for a defensive lineman like that when our defensive line has been playing really well so far this year. So, yeah, it's not Dexter Lawrence. And with him off the table, the only guy you can really talk about is Big Cat Leonard Williams. I know some people are going to say Saquon because I think the Giants will trade Saquon, but I don't want Saquon. I got no interest in Saquon. The only guy I think that is worth having a conversation about is Leonard Williams, another defensive lineman, but it's actually feasible to bring him in. This is another very good player, by the way. He's had a pretty illustrious career. A couple years ago, he was great. 2 years ago, he was great. Last year, his numbers were down, but he can still play. Go to PFF. They like what he's doing so far this year. 76 PFF grade. Really good as a pass rusher. So this is a player who can still bring a lot to the table for you. And he is in the final year of his contract. And his cap hit for the Giants is $32.25 million. And if they trade him now, the dead cap hit goes down to $14.25 million. So they can save a ton of money. Now, the Seahawks would have to find a very creative way to take on that cap hit. Like, don't get me wrong. If you trade for Leonard Williams, you are going to have to do some serious gymnastics to clear enough cap space to make room for this. But if you do it, his contract's up at the end of the year. It's not like you have a ton of big money years after this year. So I don't want to completely rule it out. I don't know if I would want to do it, but if we did it, I would be excited. There's no way I couldn't be excited about it. This guy's a really good player. This guy would immediately be our best defensive end, even over Jarran Reed. As good as Jarran Reed's playing, like this guy would immediately become our number one defensive end. He's got experience in a 3-4 defense. And the Giants actually do save significant money here and move off a guy who's probably gone next year anyway. So, because he only has this year left on his deal, he might not be that expensive. Because you're saving the Giants a lot of money, maybe they would say, hey, fourth round pick, let's get it done. We're not getting anything from him when he leaves in the offseason. Let's just get our fourth round pick now. So, you got to make the phone calls, right? That's the only way you're going to find out. If you don't make the phone calls, then for all you know, that team is just itching to get rid of that player you want, and nobody ever picked up the phone. So those are the guys that I would be looking at right now from these teams. Trade deadline is, I think, on Halloween, so we still have plenty of time to figure this out. We still have plenty of time to think about this. But if the team is looking to make trades, these are three guys I would add to the list. Not a lot, and again, this isn't something I'm super hot to trot on, but I know the team is at least thinking about it because that's their job. And if they are thinking about it, these are the guys that I would be circling. All right, see you guys later. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you think I missed anybody. Maybe in a couple weeks we'll have another couple of teams that are looking like they need to blow it up, and maybe we'll find some new players there. But for now, this video combined with the last video I made, those are my trade targets. See ya.